the idea and started thinking about ways I could connect students with thinking about their futures, because one of my weakest areas as a school counselor is that career focus and preparing them for entering the working world. And I do believe it starts in kindergarten with the things we teach, like teamwork and getting along with others and problem solving, and then also expands as the students get older and what their interests are. So I thought that career day would be vehicle day would be an exciting way to get them starting to think about their careers, and it's engaging and hands-on and fun. It also connects with the community, so that's where the ideas came from. Yeah, so I started thinking, okay, what vehicles? And you start out like with the basic ones, like, okay, police, fire, and ambulance. And it really blossomed into about, I think, 50 or so vehicles that I ended up coming up with a list of that represent different careers. And then I started also with talking with my school staff and then also my parents, and asked them to come in. I had a parent who I knew was a truck driver, so I asked him to bring in his semi-truck, and he was able to. And then I have a teacher whose parent works with the city, so she contacted the city for me, so I was able to get a lot of vehicles from the city. And then just phone calls, emails, and letters sending out to the companies that I knew of in the area. So I started probably in the beginning of August, and we had Vehicle Day the end of September. So it was 2 months. You know, I started contacting the companies in the middle of August, so they had a good month and a half of window to set aside and commit to the date and the time. And then it was just continuous follow-up with them, and then when school started, and then I really focused on the career building with the students and did a lot of my initial lessons in the school year with that focus. I did just an interest inventory, and it was really just a very basic, are you interested in arts? Are you interested in math? And then I would just divide the students up, and I actually did it in the hallway because I had visuals up in the hallway, so I held my classroom lesson in the hallway. And after they were divided up, there was just a list of what I didn't list jobs. I listed what their strengths are, and then I had them each come up as a team, and we played charades. So the students who were interested in math, they had to come up and make like a visual of jobs that they could have that they would use math in. And then they did a charades, and the rest of the class had to guess what their career was that they were acting out. And it also was a good learning experience for them when it comes to teamwork and figuring out which career they were going to play in their charades. And I had quite a few times when they wouldn't work it out. And then I would use it as a teaching moment and say, okay, so we had a group here who couldn't figure it out. What would happen if your boss said, do this, and then you looked at your boss and said, we can't really figure this out? You would get fired from your job. So I connected with them having to work out those problems and come to an agreement, and how they're going to have to do it in the working world too. I had no idea what to expect the actual day, and I actually didn't enjoy the day because I was so stressed out the whole day. And we had rain. So my initial date was on a Friday, but then we had a rain date on a Monday, and we ended up having to cancel and have it on Monday. And everyone had known about the rain date in advance, like when they said they would come. And then I made phone calls that morning because it started raining that morning. The city truck still came, so I essentially had 2 vehicle days, and it worked out because the city trucks were very engaging, and the kids like to spend a lot of time at them. So I had just set up that each classroom had about a 40-minute time slot that they could come out, and the kids were divided up into groups, and I tried to separate the problem behaviors, and then I had enough adults to support me in this. And they would go from vehicle to vehicle. And they would have, they knew they had a window of time to learn about that vehicle and ask questions. Okay, so we had, the classroom teachers, myself, my principal, any support staff such as the librarian, the phys ed teacher, the art teacher, the music teacher, everyone helped make it a successful day. Everyone loved it. One of the students said, "This is the best day of my life." So that made it all worth it, but everyone had really good things to say about it. And then on Monday, I had a bunch of vehicles show up again, so we had a second vehicle day, but it was successful. The structure of how the classes came out, honestly 40 minutes wasn't long enough, and the teachers wanted more time. I had originally said 40 minutes because I knew I was taking away from academic, well, this can be academic. I tried to tie it to academics, which I'll get to, but I didn't want to pull them out of class for longer, and I like to keep my type of assemblies and school-wide functions to a minimum throughout the year because I know how important it is to be in the classroom. So I was told they needed longer than 40 minutes.
Did they say how long they would like it to be?
Probably an hour, yes.
And then you said you were connecting it to academic standards?
Yes. So I provided content standards for each subject area and each grade level for the teachers so that they could use something from Vehicle Day and tie it back to math, science, language arts, reading, so that if they needed and felt that it should be more worthwhile, they could make it more worthwhile for their students' time that way. We have a pretty large parking lot, and they ended up taking up the majority of our parking lot. And I would, oh goodness, a football field?
Were they parking in the grass, or was it only in the parking lot?
It was only in the parking lot.
Okay.
It was. And that was tricky too, because I gave them a window of time to come so that they could stagger in. And for some vehicles, I had to provide information on how to get in without breaking the law, because some streets can't have semi-trucks on them and that kind of thing. So I tried to work around that as much as possible. And then also getting them all in so they fit. And luckily, everyone was very comfortable and competent in their ability to drive. They just made it work somehow, because I thought that I could have more control over it, but I had to let that control go because there was no way I could control how much space every vehicle needed and where they were going to go in the parking lot, because I didn't control what time they showed up. Because I wasn't going to, give them 8:44, 8:45, 8:46. That's not really feasible. But they came about, we started, I would think, at 9:30. So I asked them to come between 9 and 9:20, or that after the students arrive, so we don't have problems with the buses. And then I want to say that they all committed to 3.5 hours to be here, all the vehicles, and they stayed the whole time.
And was your parking lot empty? Did all the teachers know that they needed to park somewhere else?
The teachers many times to park, and not even just in the street, but really far away, so that the vehicles could make it down the neighborhood streets that surround my building. I would, I thanked them for their time. I went up to each one of them and thanked them and shook their hand. My principal came with me, and just got some feedback from them. A lot of it was very, they were impressed with how well behaved the students were, which was good. And I think they had fun because they saw kids excited about their vehicle. Like the dog warden came, and at first they were just like standing there next to their vehicle, and I was like, could they get in? And they're like, okay. And then they learned that they could, really interact with the kids. And it's probably intimidating for people who do not work with kids to have, 10 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds standing around them, just waiting for them. What am I supposed to do? But they all got comfortable and then were able to enjoy themselves too. I took a picture of everyone with a group of kids while they were here, and then sent a thank you with that. And I provided coffee and donuts for them as well in the morning. That was just a way to get the students thinking about more careers. It really wasn't one of the more successful things I did, and I think it ended up like the teachers felt burdened by it in the end. And I just said, you know, you could choose 1 or 2 students who finished something else early to do it. You don't have to do it as a class, because I gave them enough material to make it into a lesson, but if it didn't fit what they were doing, then, and I won't be doing that again. Possibly having students from the high school that work at the Career and Technology Center come as well, and you know, hang out with the vehicle that represents their career choice and what they're studying now, and you know, just be a visual for our students so they can learn what opportunities they have at Whitmer. So try and make that connection with what's available at our high school. So to help with communication, I wanted everyone to be as excited as I was when a new vehicle said they were coming. So I had one bulletin board that was just dedicated to Vehicle Day. And in the center of the bulletin board, I had another poster, and every day somebody else agreed to come, I would put that up so that it was a visual for everyone to see, and everybody was getting the information at the same time about who was attending. So that was helpful.
Did you do a lot of announcements on the morning announcements at all?
We did, yes, we did. I sent, I think probably my second newsletter was about Vehicle Day. We sent flyers home asking parents to attend. We had a dress up as a career day too that week, so just tied it into little like spirit wear because that kids excited too. So my top 10 vehicles, construction vehicles, are really, really, really engaging, and especially if they're from, well, there's this one in particular from Germany, and it was called the Spider, and it moved like a spider, and it was really, really, really awesome. The city also brought a vehicle that is used to clean out the sewer, and they had a stack of bricks, and they would let the kids hold a brick up into the suction, and then the suction would take it up, and you could hear it clunk through the vehicle, and then at the end they'd get it back out and replenish their stack. So that one was really fun. The fire truck and police car were very, very popular with the students. What else? We had a new Camaro, I believe. That's a General Motors car, because we have the power.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So one of our people who brought a vehicle was the local factory that builds cars. So they brought a brand new car, and that was a really big hit because that was a really cool car. So the students really, really liked that. Also, we had the Coast Guard here with a boat, and that was really engaging too. The students really, really, really liked that. A semi-truck, because they each got to go through the semi and honk the horn, so that was really fun for them. And probably the bus. Even though it's just a bus, it was just fun being on the TARTA bus. So I would say those were the top. I wasn't counting how many I gave you, but
It's probably 10. Something close to that.